Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. In some recent podcasts, I have presented some theories posited by a former government electrical engineer who's now retired. This person wants to remain anonymous, but has some views on the extraterrestrial presence on this planet, and wants those views known, and has sent me some emails presenting these comments and theories, and I've been sharing them, particularly a theory recently where my source has indicated that the reason these beings are here could possibly be because they're colonizing the planet, and they basically want to feed on our livestock, like our cattle, and also us human beings. It's just a theory, but this is an idea that this person has, and thinks it's an interesting theory. I think it's an interesting theory as well. I received a comment recently from one of my subscribers who was was concerned about do I know this person? Have I verified the credentials of this person? Well, I was confident of who the person was before I started presenting the theories that my source was giving to me, and I asked for some further verification, and it was provided to me immediately upon asking. That this person is who the person says the person is. This person has a bachelor's in physics and a master's in electronic engineering, and has worked for the government, and now not on any kind of this person has made it clear that this person never worked on anything involving reverse engineering of alien craft or anything like that, but the person did have a personal experience with seeing what appeared to be an extraterrestrial being back in the early 90s. So, and now when I talked about, I provided my own, ideas on why these beings are here, in addition to his theories. And to me, it sounded like they're here to conquer us, basically. And my source had written back to me about this, and indicated that he, according to my sources, I'm not sure the word conquer is quite accurate. It seems more like they've simply taken possession of this planet, and so long as the herd remains passive, the herd meaning us, human beings, as long as the herd remains passive, they have no need to take any sort of direct aggressive action. The arrogance of their behavior as they go about their gruesome business seems to indicate they're firmly in control, and they know it. Basically what my source is saying here is that we're so low on the intelligence food chain that these beings, we pose no threat to these beings. Now, this person has expanded on this in a recent document that that was sent to me, and I'll read it here. A strategic evaluation. I'd like to begin by making a slight distinction between the idea of conquest as opposed to simply taking possession of something. If my theory is correct, the aliens have no need to announce some sort of general takeover, overthrow the government, or anything like that. A rancher doesn't conquer his cattle. He simply owns them, and he does anything he wants with them. He considers them an asset, and as long as they remain docile and under control, he simply pursues his agenda. That is the situation I believe we now find ourselves in. From the aliens' point of view, we are relatively primitive creatures, and I'm sure they regard this planet as now completely in their possession and under their control. Indeed, they exhibit little concern for being observed as they travel around. Such a level of arrogance really makes their attitude towards us quite clear. In addition, it's apparent that they have been monitoring our technological progress, especially in terms of military power. Although I doubt it poses any immediate threat to them, they have made various attempts to dissuade us from continuing with such activity. This has sometimes been misinterpreted as trying to help us, but I think it's becoming clear that the motive is much more self-serving. While the aliens currently have no need to use military force, our continued technological progress may make it necessary at some future time. For that reason, they have been locating and targeting our military and defense research installations, not only in the United States, but around the globe. Let's take a look at a few examples. Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which hosts the Sandia National Laboratory, is a primary location for the development, acquisition, and deployment of nuclear weapons. In addition, it is a major research facility devoted to directed energy weapons. Kirtland has had so many UAP observations that it's hard to count them all, the most notable being in 1957, 1980, and just this year in 2022. Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska is the headquarters of United States Strategic Command, which is the primary control center for all U.S. intercontinental ballistic missiles. It is also a major communications hub and coordinates global strike bomber activities. Again, there have been repeated UAPs seen over the base, most notably a large boomerang-shaped craft in 2011. Wright-Patterson, near Dayton, Ohio, is one of the most diverse of all Air Force bases. It hosts a number of highly classified research projects, including the Neurotechnology Psychotronic Warfare Research Facility. It's known for reverse engineering foreign technology, which likely has included some recovered alien vehicles. This base also has experienced numerous UAP visits, most notably in 2016 and 2022. Vandenberg Space Force Base, located on the coast of Southern California, is a major launch complex for military satellites and testing of intercontinental ballistic missiles. It is best known for the 1964 shoot-down of a test missile by a UAP, but has had many more visits, especially from 2019 to the present. Malmstrom, Warren, and Minot Air Force bases each have 150 Minutemen III missiles in hardened silos. The 1967 incident reported by Captain Robert Salas, in which a group of 10 missiles were deactivated by a spherical glowing orange UAP that hovered above the main gate, is well known. But there have been many other observations of UAPs over the years as well. The Rendlesham Forest incident in 1980 is well documented, with many witnesses. It occurred at a United States Air Force base in England, which at the time was a major storage area for nuclear weapons. Several UAP were seen, and the storage areas were scanned by them, and this was far from the only incident of that type. Rome Labs in Rome, New York, is an Air Force research facility hosting numerous related agencies, including DARPA. Their work involves directed energy weapons and artificial intelligence. An entire fleet of UAP was seen over it in 2020. The Pantex plant in Amarillo, Texas, is an assembly complex for nuclear warheads. UAP were observed hovering over the plant in 2005, and a large black triangle seen in 2022. Los Alamos National Laboratories in Santa Fe, New Mexico is one of the largest defense research facilities in the world. They specialize in nuclear fusion, nanotechnology, and supercomputing. UAP have been seen hovering over the site since 1944 and most recently in 2011 and 2022. Lawrence Livermore National Labs near San Francisco specializes in nanotechnology, lasers, and high-energy physics. In 2003, they were able to synthesize element 115, which 20 years earlier, Bob Lazard claimed was the power source for a crashed UAP he had worked on. The site was hovered over by UAP in 2005 and a huge black triangle in 2015. Suffice to say, these incidents have occurred at dozens of other military bases, research labs, and nuclear power plants all over the world for many decades now, and they appear to be happening more frequently as time goes by. I'm sure the military is aware of these incidents, and it very likely constitutes the true nature of the threat to national security that people such as Lou Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, and others have been warning us about. Some may say that UAP are also seen in relatively innocuous locations such as small towns and rural areas. I imagine they are simply on patrol, possibly scouting for other military installations, or perhaps merely looking to grab a hot lunch to take back to the hive. Whatever they're doing, they're not selling Girl Scout cookies, and they don't look like they're here to help us. If you go to the wiki page for DARPA and read the list of active projects, I think we can see that the scope of them far exceeds anything that might be needed to fight the Russians or Chinese. In fact, we would probably be better off to do as Ronald Reagan once suggested and put aside our differences in order to better deal with a bigger threat from outside of this world. So, that is the comment. That is the latest evaluation I've received from my anonymous source, and it's very interesting, and there's a lot to think about there. So basically, they're not here to conquer us because they're not worried about us, but they do check up on us, and that's why they're seeing a lot of our military installations on a regular basis. They're hovering over Navy ships, this has been going on for decades too. I mean, this is since the 40s. I mean, but as my source has indicated, it seems like it has picked up over recent years. Yes, it's something to think about, and maybe they're not here to conquer us, but they are keeping tabs and just making sure that we never get too big for our britches.